Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What's going on, Mets fans? And before we even get started with this video, I need you to understand something. What I'm about to discuss is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. Some of you are going to think I'm being too cynical. Some of you are going to say I'm being unfair to Steve Cohen. But the question I'm about to ask is one that needs to be asked, and it needs to be asked loudly. Does Steve Cohen care more about his $8 billion casino than he does about the New York Mets? Hit that like button if you've been wondering the same thing, and stick around because the evidence I'm going to lay out is going to make you seriously question where Cohen's priorities actually are. Let's start with the facts because the timeline here is really important. Steve Cohen just got approval for an $8 billion casino and entertainment complex at the Metropolitan Park site. $8 billion. That's not a typo. That's one of the biggest casino projects in the history of New York. It's going to be massive. It's going to generate hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue. It's potentially going to be the crown jewel of Cohen's business empire. And the approval came right in the middle of this disastrous Mets offseason. Now, I want to be very clear about something. There's nothing wrong with Steve Cohen pursuing other business interests. The man is a billionaire. He's got multiple ventures. He's allowed to make money however he wants. But here's the question. When you're in the middle of trying to close this $8 billion casino deal, when you're navigating the politics and the approvals and everything that goes into a project of that magnitude, how much attention are you really paying to your baseball team? Because let's look at what's happened with the Mets during this exact same time frame. Pete Alonso walked to Baltimore without the Mets even making him an offer. Edwin Diaz signed with the Dodgers. Brandon Nimmo got traded. The roster got objectively worse. David Stearns has been making small market decisions with big market resources. And through all of this, where has Steve Cohen been? Has he been in David Stearns' office demanding answers? Has he been pushing his front office to be more aggressive? Or has he been focused on getting his casino deal done? I'm not saying Cohen has completely checked out on the Mets, but I am saying that it's awfully convenient that the Mets are having their worst offseason under Cohen's ownership at the exact same time he's closing the biggest business deal of his life. You don't think those two things might be connected? You don't think Cohen's attention might be divided right now? Let's talk about the money for a second because this is where it gets really interesting. The casino project is $8 billion. The potential annual revenue from that casino is going to be measured in hundreds of millions of dollars. Compare that to the Mets, where the entire annual payroll is around $300 million. From a pure business perspective, the casino is exponentially more important to Cohen's bottom line than the baseball team will ever be. Now, Cohen has always said he didn't buy the Mets to make money. He bought it because he's a fan. He bought it to win championships. He bought it because he loves baseball. And I believed him when he said that. But actions speak louder than words. And the actions we're seeing this offseason suggest that maybe the casino is taking priority over the commitment to build a championship baseball team. Think about it this way. If Steve Cohen was fully engaged with the Mets, if he was paying close attention to what David Stearns was doing, would he allow Pete Alonso to walk without even an offer? Would he be okay with losing Edwin Diaz over $3 million? Would he sign off on trading Brandon Nimmo for an aging Marcus Semien? Because all of those moves go against everything Cohen said when he bought the team about being aggressive and spending whatever it takes to win. The only way those moves make sense is if Cohen is distracted, if he's not fully plugged into what's happening with the baseball operations, if he's trusting David Stearns to handle everything while Cohen focuses on the casino deal. And if that's what's happening, that's a huge problem. Because David Stearns, left to his own devices, operates like he's running the Milwaukee Brewers, not the New York Mets. Let me also point out the timing of Cohen's apology to the fans after last season. He came out and said he was disappointed with how things ended. He said the Mets would be aggressive this offseason. He set expectations that the team would improve. And then immediately after that, he goes and closes this massive casino deal while his baseball team falls apart. That disconnect is glaring. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, well, maybe Cohen hired David Stern specifically so he could be hands off. Maybe the whole point was to bring in a smart baseball executive who could run things independently so Cohen didn't have to be involved in every decision. And maybe that's true. But if that's the case, then Cohen needs to recognize that Stearns is not executing the vision Cohen sold to the fans. And Cohen needs to step in and make a correction. Because here's the reality. Steve Cohen promised Mets fans a championship caliber organization. He promised aggressive spending. He promised to compete with the Yankees and Dodgers for every major free agent. He promised that the days of the Wilpons pinching pennies were over, and for a while it seemed like he meant it. But this offseason has been a complete betrayal of all of those promises. And it's happening right as Cohen is focused on his casino project. Let's also talk about what the casino represents in terms of Cohen's legacy. The Mets are always going to be a side project for someone as wealthy as Steve Cohen, but an $8 billion casino in New York, that's a landmark. That's something that will exist for generations. That's the kind of project that gets your name on buildings and in history books. Winning a World Series with the Mets would be amazing, but from a business legacy perspective, the casino is probably more important to Cohen. And if that's true, if the casino is actually Cohen's priority, then Mets fans need to adjust their expectations accordingly, because you can't expect championship level commitment from an owner who's treating the baseball team as a secondary concern. You can't expect aggressive spending and hands-on involvement from someone who's got bigger fish to fry. Now, I want to be fair to Steve Cohen. He spent a lot of money on the Mets. The payroll has been high. He's invested in the organization, but money alone isn't enough. You need leadership. You need oversight. You need someone at the top who's holding the front office accountable and making sure the vision is being executed. And I'm not convinced that's happening right now. Look at what happened with the casino approval process. Cohen was actively involved. He was navigating the political landscape. He was making deals and building relationships and doing whatever it took to get that project approved. Now compare that to the Mets offseason. Has Cohen been actively involved in free agent negotiations? Has he been pushing David Stearns to be more aggressive? Has he been holding anyone accountable for the roster getting worse? Or has he just been signing checks and trusting Stearns to handle it? The evidence suggests Cohen has been largely absent from the baseball operations side while focusing on the casino. And the result is that David Stearns has been allowed to run wild with his small market philosophy, making moves that directly contradict what Cohen promised the fans when he bought the team. Here's another thing to consider. The casino is going to require ongoing attention from Cohen. It's not like he closes the deal and walks away. He's going to have to oversee construction, operations, marketing, all of it. This is going to be a major time commitment for years to come, which means if Cohen is already distracted now, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. And that should terrify Mets fans. Because if Steve Cohen is focused on his casino empire, while David Stearns continues to make disastrous baseball decisions, this franchise is going to waste years of its competitive window. Francisco Lindor is getting older. The farm system isn't producing impact players fast enough. The window to win is now, but the owner is distracted and the front office is incompetent. I also want to talk about what this means for the future. Let's say the casino opens and becomes hugely successful. Let's say it generates massive profits for Cohen. Does that make him more invested in the Mets or less? Does the success of the casino free him up to focus more on baseball, or does it give him another shiny toy to play with while the Mets continue to languish? I don't have the answer to that question, but I do know that right now, at this exact moment, it certainly seems like Steve Cohen cares more about getting his casino built than he does about fixing the mess his baseball team is in. And if that's true, if the casino is actually his priority, then Mets fans need to stop expecting him to be the savior who's going to outspend everyone and build a dynasty. Now, here's what needs to happen. Steve Cohen needs to refocus on the Mets. He needs to get directly involved with what David Stearns is doing. He needs to hold his front office accountable for the decisions that are making this team worse. He needs to remember the promises he made to the fans about building a championship organization, and he needs to prove that the Mets are more than just a vanity project that takes a back seat whenever bigger business opportunities come along. Because right now the optics are terrible. The richest owner in baseball just got approval for an $8 billion casino while his baseball team is falling apart. His front office is making small market moves with big market resources. Star players are walking away. The roster is getting worse. And Cohen seems to be more focused on his casino empire than on fixing any of it. So here's what I want from you in the comments. Do you think Steve Cohen cares more about his casino than the Mets? Do you think his attention is divided right now? Do you think he needs to refocus on the baseball team and hold David Stearns accountable? Because I'm telling you, the timing of this casino deal and the disaster of this offseason is not a coincidence. And until Cohen proves otherwise, I'm going to keep questioning where his priorities actually are. Hit that subscribe button for more honest Mets content that asks the tough questions nobody else wants to ask. Drop your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue holding this organization accountable and demanding the championship level commitment we were promised when Steve Cohen bought this team